Tonight we're going to talk about the barbell row. Now this may seem kind of funny, us talking about the barbell row at the Coaches Association convention, because everybody has been yelled and screamed at for the past 10 years about don't do the row, do the clean. Okay, another classic case of misunderstanding what the hell I'm saying. And you know, that's often fun. Misunderstand what Rippetoe says and then write a scathing rebuttal for your version of what I actually said. When actually, that's not what I said at all. What I said was the barbell row is not a substitute for the power clean for a novice trainee. It is not a power exercise. It is not a way to keep track, to keep power production on pace with your increasing strength. The barbell row is a very useful exercise depending on who you're training. If you're a 61-year-old guy with 10 orthopedic surgeries and a history of having problems with snatches and power cleans in the autumn of his years, the barbell row may well be just a perfect light day pull exercise for a guy in this demographic. Okay, might work fine for females, might work fine for injured people with Achilles tendon injuries. There are several different times when you might decide to program the barbell row for a client. Okay? And I'll leave that up to you to determine when that is. You know as well as I do that everybody that can clean needs to be cleaning, and you know why. But the barbell row is a viable substitute light day pull for certain trainees, and it's a very good way to get some more pulling in. If you do it correctly, it's even a pretty good way to do arms. Right? Isn't that funny? Do arms, right? So what we're going to show you here is the classic barbell row. All right, this is the way they've traditionally been done. All right, and this is the way they've been done for 60 or 70 years. And the trick to them is that each rep starts on the floor. Each rep starts with a very slight knee and hip extension, and each rep finishes with the elbows slamming the barbell into your gut. It'd be somewhere around your upper abs, lower rib cage. It must make contact for the rep to be considered complete. All right, this is why the barbell row is really, it's hard to consider it a major lift, a major exercise, because they're very difficult to judge. They get up to a certain weight, they tend to just stick there because the little tiny muscles that finish the movement just don't adapt very fast. You can't make progress on the barbell row as long as you can on your deadlift. And as you'll see, they're very difficult for you, the coach, who is even standing right there looking at them, to determine whether or not they got completed. The lifter can tell. You could tell if you hit your belly with the barbell. And the first 3 reps of a set may make contact and the last 2 not be any good because they didn't touch. And to you, standing right there, they won't look any different than the first 3 reps. They're just right there. 1/16 of an inch is the difference between a completed rep and not a completed rep. And you have to judge them that way, because a 1/16 of an inch turns into a 1/4 of an inch, turns into a 1/2 of an inch, turns into a bent over deadlift very quickly. Okay, they must make contact or we won't count them. We can't count them. Okay, now there's a couple of different ways to grip the bar when you do the barbell row. all right? They're dependent on grip width, and there's several different things. So as I warm up, I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna have Nikki do these with me, and we're gonna see some of the problems that you're gonna run into coaching them and performing them. Okay, so here's my first warm-up set. And what I typically do, in order to get in a good flat position with the barbell off the floor, you got to have your hamstrings kind of stretched out, because you're in the start position really of a stiff leg deadlift. It's not a deadlift position. Your hips are much higher. The shins are essentially vertical. So your hamstrings are stretched out quite a bit more even than our normal deadlift start position. What I'm going to do is take a supine grip on this bar, and you'll notice it looks kind of like a bench press grip. I'm going to set my low back each rep. Okay, Nikki. Now, why do I supinate? I want to add the biceps into the movement. I want to add the supinators in. Okay. Same width as deadlift stance. The grip will be wider. Not like that. Squeeze the lumbar erectors real tight and slam it. Good. And as it gets heavier, now she's doing this pretty strict off the floor right now, but as it gets heavier, it is expected that you will use more hip and more knee to get the thing started, but that you will not come much above the horizontal. Do one more. That is about as vertical as the back angle needs to get, okay? Now what will happen if you start catching the thing in your gut too vertical? Bar's gonna go low, it'll meet you lower and lower. So you need to identify the place where it's gonna contact you, and don't let it touch. Do one real vertical and cheat it and see what, see like that? Don't let it turn into that, okay? One more reason why this is an exercise for advanced lifters. You cannot teach novices these little subtle things, because it's very difficult to quantify this like it is a deadlift, okay? There's things you have to do that may seem artificial. That's why this is better viewed as an assistance exercise, okay? Now, let me do a prone grip set, and they're going to look about the same. Everybody see that? It's about the same. Now, I prefer doing them supine, because I don't get a lot of arm work anyway, and I'd like to put them in, and I can do pretty much the same weight, and you can too if you just do these for a while, supine. In fact, if you start off and your flexibility for the supination at the bottom is not quite what it ought to be, if you're an old guy and you can't fully supine, what will happen is about 6 weeks in, you'll find that you picked up about 15, 20 degrees of supination. It's good for that flexibility too. Okay, now, what is the difference between this type of row and what most everybody thinks is a barbell row? It's what? It does put in some explosive power, but I mean, what's the difference in the execution? It starts on the floor. It starts concentrically like a deadlift. Now, how does everybody else want to do these things? They want to walk them out of the rack, and they want to go down and from the hang and do them like that and go slow on the eccentric. You'll notice that we're just setting the thing back down on the floor. So we're measuring a complete rep. Every rep is a complete measured rep. It goes floor to belly to back to the floor. It's a quantifiable rep, just like everything else we do. Now, as these get heavier, they're going to be extremely dependent on grip strength, especially the supine grip version of this thing. They're going to be exceptionally dependent on grip strength, so they're a very good grip exercise. In fact, when these get real heavy, one of the things you're going to have to really think about right before the bar comes off the floor is a grip squeeze. Your elbows already know what to do, and your hips and knees already ought to know what to do too. What will happen is, as it gets real heavy, you'll miss them because the bar is pulling out of your hands. Everybody's had the experience of pulling a deadlift that they could actually pull. They were strong enough to pull, but that they couldn't hold, right? And it feels like the back can't pull it, when in fact it's just a grip failure. So you have to be very conscious of this, of gripping the bar, squeezing, leaving your fingerprints in the bar, okay? Go ahead. A little more power, a little faster off the floor. Yeah, like that. Roll the bar back over to the midfoot. There you go. Pulling mechanics, the midfoot relationship applies to this just like it does to any pull.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out is that as the weights get heavier, people tend to, if their back angle starts here, they start coming down towards it.
They're going to dive into the bar.
So they shorten the range of motion.
They shorten the range of bar. They're going to dip down to make the contact, especially if you've yelled at them enough about making the contact. That's one way to cheat it. See, things keep the more you do these, you'll understand why this is an assistance exercise. All right, there's a dozen ways to do these things wrong. And something that's, I mean, we've already got enough problems with the squat anyway, right? So these things you have to really think real hard about what you're doing on these things. And if you find yourself diving down to make contact, a little of that is going to happen anyway, right? A little of that's going to happen anyway, but if you dive down to touch the bar and you still miss it, you're probably about 10 pounds heavy. You're about 10 pounds heavier than you can actually use for the exercise. You want 75? You want to try 85? All right. All right. You go, girl. Isn't that what y'all girls?
I feel empowered.
And what y'all girls tell each other? Is this empowering? Is this impactful? Impactful is another good word. Circle back, jump on a call, reach out, drop you an email, touch base, circle back for an impactful experience. Yes. Go. Yeah, I can't think of any more words right now. All right, squeeze. Did it touch? See how hard it is for you to tell? She's going to tell you when she misses one. Did that one touch? Yeah. They all touched. But it's hard to tell watching it, isn't it? I mean, it's just, it comes up into the shirt, and the shirt's hanging down, and you really can't tell by looking what's going on. All right? Huh?
It seems like you can hear it.
You can hear it because the plates clang on the bar. But if you're using bumper plates, you probably won't hear it as loud. I usually use bumper plates. I don't normally do these out here.
So if you want to cheat or maybe use metals.
Well, they'll play against your hands.
Good idea. The plate ID is going to rattle against the sleeve OD. And it's going to make some noise. It sounds like a click back there, and it sounds like a clang out here because the metal is just louder.
Do you ever have people do these with straps?
I may have to do mine with straps. Now the straps are fine. This is not a primary exercise. Straps are fine on these. But the straps create some problems because most of the time people with experience using straps are experienced with straps in a double overhand position. Straps are a lot different putting them on supine. The supine hand doesn't like the strap very well. All right, it's a much more complicated deal. If you get used to doing them prone, supine is harder to strap. But if you have to strap them, you have to strap them if you're going to go supine. If probably what I'll do here, if I can't do the set I want without straps, I probably will use a prone grip and strap. And I think I should be able to do 305 for 5 like that. So we'll see what happens. All right. So here's a double at 2 1/4. That felt pretty good. I don't know. I may be able to get it today. All right, you want 95? Okay. Questions or comments about this? Yes, sir.
Grip is an issue. Would you ever hook grip the supine position or no?
Oh, you know, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. But by the same token, I think I'd just soon strap. Again, this is an assistance exercise. And if you're already hooking some other stuff, maybe we ought to just leave as much of the skin on your thumb alone as we can, right? And this would be a situation where, I'd go ahead and strap it. It's an assistance exercise. Your thumb's already torn up anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't do that. Okay? Now watch, these are going to be limit, so you watch and see which ones you think touched and which didn't. And she's going to tell you if she misses. Did you miss the last one? No. You touched all 5 of those? Yeah. See, it's hard to see. They look like misses, don't they? Yeah. But if they touch, they touch. What?
I thought I got too vertical on it before. But
Number 5 was a little bit more vertical than kind of we'd like to see, right?
did it cheat that way?
Right. Yeah, it's easy to cheat. You get a lip. Why would it be easier to cheat that way? Because you get a longer period of time to accelerate the bar.
More hip extension.
Get more hip extension. You get more of the stuff out of your knees and hips. What are we trying to do with a barbell row? What are we training? Well, we're looking at it as kind of a lat exercise, right? We're looking at arms, right? But you'll notice that neither of us are wearing a belt on this. This is a pretty good low back and abs exercise too. I've tried wearing a belt on this and it just really interferes with my getting in position. You know, have you ever worn a belt on these? And they're light. You don't need a belt on this. It's limited enough by the actual exercise itself. You shouldn't have to wear a belt on a barbell row. You know, I'd wear a barbell row on a belt on a barbell curl before I'd wear one on a barbell row. Heavy curls, you probably need a belt on. You know, really do. Okay. 265. Knees out, toes out. Important on this for the same reason it is on a deadlift. Get your belly down in between your thighs so you can set your lower back flatter. Okay? Try that. I think 05 will go. All right. You want anything else?
No.
You're done? What?
You want me to do another set?
Your call. What do you want? 200?
Sure. Yeah.
200? All right.
I'll see some people do this and they'll set the bar down and then go into like a ton of flexion and then
Right.
slam into extension. I don't think that's a great
No, that's a bad idea. And another way to hurt yourself on these things is to try real hard to decelerate the descent. Just drop the thing back down on the platform. Don't jerk your bicep real hard trying to slow the bar down, because you can hurt yourself like that. You can hurt both distal and proximal bicep tendons trying to slow down the descent of a barbell row. Just set the damn thing down. Once you've touched it, treat it like a clean. Just drop it. Don't let go, but drop it. Come on, Nick, touch it. That's a pretty good one. Good. Low back. Go. All of them?
They're just hard, but
You're a fucking human machine, is what you are. A human machine. All right, put 305 on it. Fuck, let's see. Let's see what happens. This platform doesn't like to roll. It just barely touched. I'll bet. Oops. Clearly a miss, was it not? Hold on, hold on. Hold on. We'll salvage the rep. And I'll just prone grip this. Now. Oh, yeah. See the grip component? The grip component illustrated for you, for your entertainment and your enjoyment. So, barbell rows. Use them appropriately.